manna, Mike. I'm not sure what you own, but this here is on the mark. Like a spiral from a 5-star recruit, we throwing darts, really focused. WD-40 couldn't stop the way we grinded. In the trenches, putting that work in, I relate to all my linemen. This is for the men, the boys do not belong here. Tiptoeing to the top, we doing cone drills. The hottest show in the world, you don't even gotta search. Steady putting in work, you see the sweat up on my shirt. They wasn't aware of us at first, we wasn't on their radar. Now every play that we make, they gon' say similar to a razor blade, we gon' stay sharp. The news ain't official if it's not on the mark.
What it do? We are back. You know what it is. It's Wednesday. It's time to educate and elevate you right here on the OYMRC Show, proud and sponsored by Big Steppas Apparel. Every play I compete. It's Wednesday, man. It's almost August, man. You can see the cleats. The cleats over here. Hey, it's football season. It's in
time,
the air.
Baby. It's time.
It's time. You know what I'm saying? The grass smell different. The air is different. You know what I'm saying? It's like Christmas in July, August. It's football season. Got one of my guys, Coach Joe, in the building. Listen, defensive line, offensive line trainer. Listen. State champion at Duncanville High School. We're going to talk about that and more. And my guy, fresh off the road, Coast to Coast Athletic CEO, Epic Sports Apparel CEO, Stephon Johnson in the building as usual. Listen, we're going to have a great show today. First of all, fellas, what's up with you?
Man, what it do? Blessed to be here, man.
Chilling. Coach Joe, what's up?
Season.
Talk to me.
Not much, baby. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to put on for the big steppers out there. All those big boys out there, let's get them out the house and get them active. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Get some avenues, get them big boys out there in the house, baby.
Absolutely, man. First of all, Coach Joe, what I like to do with guests is to kind of show and talk about where you were before and how you got to here. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Talk about where you play, high school, college, coaching, and what you're doing now.
Okay. I went to Lamar High School in Arlington, from Arlington, Texas, so that North Arlington area. Vikings fight, never die, and never leave.
No doubt. Is that what that's what that means? I always wonder what that means.
Yeah,
Okay, for sure.
Means. Yep. And then I went on to North Carolina Central University. I had Rod Broadway was my head coach. We was a Black College National Championship, 2-time conference champions. Before I came and started coaching. I coached for about 6 years before I got to Duncanville. Yeah. And then I've been there for the last decade pretty much.
Right.
From 2005 until February this year.
Right. Yep. Right. Yep. Now, I recognize the name Joe. You come from a lineage of athletes in your family.
Yeah.
So it's in your blood a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Talk about how that shaped you, because, we talk about these things all the time. The way society is now, it's competitive. When you coming up, we in the streets, cousins, people in the neighborhood, basketball goes with trash cans. You know what I'm saying? Talk about how that shaped you a little bit.
Man, I was like a lot of these kids. I didn't go to school for school.
Yeah.
Right? School was just something I had to do.
Right.
But what I loved was when we was going out to Baylor, my uncle played football, played quarterback at Baylor.
For sure.
And I'm seeing these whole stadiums just go crazy over this dude.
Right.
I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
I got to do this.
Yeah.
So that's what really turned the engine on. And I understand that some of these kids, that is their inspiration. I'm one of those guys. I got my inspiration from football.
Right.
Football taught me a lot of things I didn't learn in the classroom first. I learned discipline, accountability, consistency, commitment. I learned that on the football field first.
For sure.
And then it leaked into the classroom.
Right.
And so a lot of these kids, they go in there with that mindset. So
right.
Football is an avenue, not just to get you on the field and cameras and stuff, but it's an avenue to give you certain character traits that you can carry on,
right.
Forever. It'll leak into your schoolwork. It'll leak into how you treat people,
right.
If you're taught to do it the right way.
Right. Well, I think that, sports in general helps you not only just in life but the workplace. You have to be competitive. You have a competitive resume. You compete with anybody else that you're stepping in for a job interview in any line of work. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's in coaching,
right.
the corporate world, media, whatever. It's a competition. Right. You know what I mean? And I think that's what breeds it. Coach Jay, we talk about this all the time.
No, absolutely. It's one of the best things ever, man, because it teaches you, it prepares you for more than just, living. It prepares you to understand how to deal with adversity, you know, being a team player, it gives you so much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I remember my first sport was boxing, which was, you know, you against the next man.
Absolutely.
You know, and then
Somebody
went
really trying to kill you on the other
yeah,
side.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was a different mindset, you know, then the next sport was track.
Right.
And then football for me, you know, growing up. But when I started playing football, I was like, man, it's different. You know, you're a big part of team chemistry. You know, it's still the same violence, which I loved.
Right.
But you have to be accountable. If one person mess up, everybody suffer. You know what I'm saying? And boxing and track was a little different because if you messed up, you got knocked down.
No
you know
doubt.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just a little different. But you know, with football, it's one of those sports you really don't understand it unless you play it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know what it brings. You can talk about it all day long, but until you actually on the field bleeding and sweating. And, you know what I'm saying? You got to pick your teammate up. Right. And tell them the plays, and they telling you, and y'all helping each other, and it doesn't matter, you know, what that person's skin color is, because if you're going to be a team, that's your brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be a team that can win, and I mean that was just one of those, you know, beautiful things. I remember the first time. Real quick story.
Yeah.
Funny. First time I told my parents I wanted to play football. I was maybe 6 or 7, and they was like, okay, you know, took me up there, dropped me off, and left to the tryout. And I had no idea what, you know, football was as far as, you know, other than just street ball.
Yeah.
So coach put me on the line, and remember the kid standing in front of me felt like he was 10 years older.
Right.
You know, they called him dead eye because one of his eyes was kind of squinty.
That gooch eye.
Man, that dude looked at me like, I'm going to kill you. Man, he hit
trenches,
me.
man.
Yeah,
He
for
hit
sure.
me and drugged me, and I was like, man, I don't want to do this no more.
Right.
Went home, mom was like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
I was like, man, they tripping, they cheating.
Right.
She was like, partner, you got to go right back. We ain't going to take that way out. So went back and kind of got my feet wet, started, you know, really understanding how to play, and then understood the different kind of aggression, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
Yeah.
So it's just a funny story.
And that's why I love trench play.
Right.
Because you're going to find out real quick.
You're going to
Who the
find out
dogs
real
are.
fast.
You're going to find
It's
out
different.
real quick. It's real different when you got to put your hand in the dirt.
Right.
And you hitting 95% of the plays. You're going to hit every single play. It's a different type of game. And so I'm attached to that type of game. I came in, I was a big kid.
Yeah.
So I only had 2 choices, right?
Yeah.
You either going to block or you going to tackle.
Right.
At least when you tackle, you get your name called. When you blocking, don't nobody say nothing.
Nobody say nothing.
Right. And so that's why I love this offensive line mentality of I'm going to do all the grunt work, and my name might not be called. And we all got to be working as one, even though it's 5 individuals. We all have to communicate. We all have to work in a way that we protect our brothers behind us.
Right.
Right. And we may not get the handshakes and the pat on the backs.
Right.
Right.
Linemen are selfless.
They
Right.
be selfless. So, you know, this is what the Big Steppas is about, is being selfless, is saying, hey, man, big guys, we understand it's hard. 1, finding stylish cleats.
Right.
1, 2, they're over expensive because they're big sizes.
For sure.
And that we understand this demographic. You know, we come from I deal with these type of kids. I deal with these type of situations.
Right.
Kids coming with wearing 13s when they should be wearing 14 and a half.
Right.
You know, so this is my opportunity to give back to the community, give back to the trenches and say, hey, for all that selfless work you do, all that pushing and shoving and huffing and puffing and not getting a whole bunch of recognition.
Absolutely.
Hey, brother, I got something for you. So all them Big Steppers, man, this Saturday from 11 to 1 at Bowie High School, we gonna put it down for the big guys.
Absolutely.
And that's Arlington Bowie, right?
Arlington Bowie.
Yeah,
Arlington
where my
Bowie.
guy at.
Yeah.
Listen,
Coach
that's
Sam.
shout out to Coach Sam, man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
shout out,
saying?
shout out.
Listen,
My boy.
they quiet as kept. They got some stuff bubbling over there. You know, everybody
he been
talks
working.
about no,
been
seriously.
working.
You know, I know what they got over there, but you know, it's just they on the bubble. You know what I mean? You know, it's usually, and this is kind of off the subject of what we're going to, but
That's on subject, man.
You know, it's football time. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we limited on time. We could be here 2-3 hours. But you know, the usual suspects in that area is Martin. You know what I mean? And you know, Lamar historically. But I think that Bowie has a chance to supplant Martin this year. That's just my 2 cents.
But here's the thing, though, man. Sam, you know, coming in from Houston, and
a little different mindset is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying we don't want to. He's a Dallas native. He's Lancaster, you know, bred, but being in Houston, being a head coach out there at Hightower,
right.
You know, understanding that diversity, understanding that level of play.
Right.
He's bringing that mindset with that Lancaster swag to Arlington, and it just took him, you know, a minute to get. You know, he's only been at this is 4th year.
Right. But you
Dylan Talley.
Man.
A monster.
Listen, don't sleep on Larry Nichols III, the quarterback either.
Right.
Can go. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's going to be the difference in trench play. They've always had great linemen over there.
He's been working, man. Yeah. And when I say a community advocate for that area, the doors are always open for anybody in Arlington in that area to come in and get some work. When you pull up, see little league teams there practicing, and you know I'm there a lot at the indoor facility, you know, helping out, training kids. So man, Sam is I mean, shout out Joseph.
Yeah, man. I think, you know, Bowie is you know, if you want to say flying under the radar, you know,
this is their coming out year.
Yeah, I think so too.
This is their coming out year.
I think this is the year they make a 2-3 deep run in the playoffs.
This is their coming out year.
And you know, be on the cusp. You know, I'm not gonna say state title, but you know, I think they're gonna make
holiday
some noise.
Ball. They should be playing during the holidays.
You know a lot about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, before we get into the Big Steppas,
you know a lot about that.
You know a lot about that. You know what I'm saying? Duncanville High School, back-to-back state champions. Shout out to Coach Samples and that great staff.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a chance to rub elbows with you guys on several of those runs, even the losses early to North Shore and things like that. But the culture that you guys breed over there, speak about that and how that leads to winning.
The first thing is when you go into that situation to really believe what you're telling them kids. And what I mean by that is if I go into a program and I see a kid that has great potential, to me he doesn't have great potential. He's already there.
Right.
Because it's my job to get him there.
Right.
And so I go into it now looking at what he doesn't have yet and what he can do now. I'm looking at what I'm going to apply to him that's going to make him what he's going to be. I put the pressure more on myself to develop him than to the kid to develop himself.
That's a great way to think.
You know what I'm saying? So we think players over plays, players over culture, players over whatever. It's about the kid. If you develop each individual kid and max him out, you know, we talked about squeezing blood out of a turnip. If you can do that, then you'll have a chance.
Right.
You know, especially also, you know, people always speak to, and I got to speak on this because I'm on the outside.
Right.
And when you're on the outside, you hear people say stuff. They don't understand. We used to do stuff on purpose. Like I had one coach come up to me talking about he seen our freshman team. They was all 6'5" and 6'4", and he was like, "That's why y'all win." I was like, you know, half them don't play.
Right.
We put them on the front of the bus for people like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's not. We develop those kids. You know, those kids come in skinny. Those kids come in 130 pounds. They come in 140 pounds.
Right.
They come in underdeveloped, just like anybody else's kids come develop.
Right.
But we're going to say, all right, we're going to put together this plan. We see it in you. You know what I'm saying? We see it, and we're going to get it out of you as quickly as possible.
Right.
So we accelerated those kids. Our freshmen, we didn't treat like freshmen. We treated them like they was varsity.
Right.
So when y'all say, where this kid come from, the freshman team? Where this kid come from, the freshman team?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you could back that all the way down to the middle school, you know, in Duncanville, the preparation from, you know, when you at multiple middle school games, which I've been to many, and you see samples out there.
The middle school.
At the middle school.
Standing behind the coaches, yelling as if he's coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like, hey, man, this is my ship.
Right.
Run it right.
Right.
You know, so that development starts very, very early,
Very
early.
you know, in Duncanville. So
Right.
it's easy for people that on the outside to look and say, you know, well, how are you able to do this?
Right.
When all you got to do is go look at the middle school.
Go just look at your middle school.
Go
Right.
go
You
to the
know,
middle.
I've gone
Pick
around
one.
and consulted a little bit, kind of be around. And the one thing I see is a lot of places have a disconnect between the middle school and the high school.
Absolutely.
You can
And
go
some of
even
it's
further to the little league leagues around you guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have a blueprint. That's the reason Duncanville's successful. The Alitos, the South Lakes, the
Katie's.
Allens, the grassroots of development starts there. You know what I'm saying? You guys have even had clinics where you brought in the younger groups when it comes to youth football and had clinics and teach their system, teach their mechanics and everything.
Right.
I've seen you guys do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You guys have done that for years, and I think that's the reason you've been successful.
Right. And there's some other programs that kind of hamstring. You split middle schools. That's tough. Like what they do over there in Dallas is amazing.
Absolutely.
It's amazing on how they basically get their program in 9th grade and accelerate it to what they're able to accelerate it to.
Absolutely.
With all the hurdles that they have to go over. They don't get athletics every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the job that they do over there and the ingenuity they've done in those schools, and also you have some schools over there in Fort Worth ISD that's dealing with some of those same issues,
right,
and hurdles that you're dealing with. Everybody has their hurdles,
right.
But I'm a solution-based person.
Right.
I'm gonna find a way in this gate.
Right, no doubt.
I'm gonna find a way in this
Absolutely.
gate. I'm gonna find a way to win. I'm gonna find a way to get the most out of the kid. And I feel like if we do that really in our heart and not just what we be saying in front of parents,
right,
I think we'll get more of our kids. Because I see programs around with, man, like you look at Anna, tough.
Right.
Timberview, tough.
Right.
Collinville Heritage, tough.
Right.
Argyle, tough.
Right.
5A Division II might be one of the toughest regions.
Yeah.
In all of Texas high school
this year,
football.
right
this
now.
Year.
Yeah.
Because now PNG in the region now.
Absolutely.
And SOP and all those teams, Frisco, Emerson. You got a lot of good football.
Right.
A lot of good football.
Right.
A lot of good football. And so it's going to be the competition between coaches is this. Yeah, your players go out on the field, but the competition for me was, do I have my kids more prepared for this game than your kids are?
Right.
And that's the competition. Are my kids ready psychologically for this game?
Right.
Are they ready schematically for this game, technically for this game?
Right.
To be ready for whatever you have coming at us. That's the competition I had with the other coaches, and I didn't want to lose a game saying, damn, that offensive line couldn't get nothing together.
And that's one thing we see with you guys, standing on the sidelines with y'all, is from first quarter to fourth quarter, it's always about finishing strong, technique. You don't care what the score is. Right. If you mess up technically, and I've seen you many a time, hey man, come here. Why are you doing that? Like, what's the problem? Like, that's not what we do.
Right.
Do it right. And see that over and over and over again, and just being able to see that at a very high level, that you're coaching literally from the start of the game to the end of the game is huge. And then just the way the practices are set up, right? It's like being at college,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's you have your periods, and everything is fast paced, and everything is about high level understanding. One of the biggest blessings for me was just to be out there to coach the 7-on-7 all summer, and that was just fun.
Yeah,
that was just really enjoyable. But to see the kids and see how they responded and how they respond to coaching,
right?
Really lets you know that these kids can play.
Well, they're locked in, and then you see the development right in front of your face.
No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You had a chance to be in the huddle with Keelan, and look where he is now. Mm-hmm. But we kind of saw this in the development stages when he took over as a sophomore. We're talking about 5-star quarterback out of Alabama commit, Keelan Russell, Duncanville.
Earned. Right.
But he put in the work too.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. IQ off the charts.
Just everything in the whole kid and caboodle is the reason that the rest of the country is now seeing what
we saw early,
what you saw early, but the development piece,
it's
I think,
development.
It's something that you guys do.
Freshman game, he threw that. It was like a corner route in the corner of the end zone. He just walked off the field. You just look. You just knew it.
Like different.
You just knew it.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, we can wait and see and say, oh, that's nice. He's just a freshman. Or we can say, okay, he's him now. Like we saw Elite 11 after that throw.
Yeah.
So after that throw, I'm not treating him no different. He's Elite 11 from that time. That's
no doubt.
That's manifest these things in these kids' minds
Right.
if they're capable.
Right.
Don't blow their head up. But the boy was already 6'2", 145 pounds or whatever. He had the natural talent.
Right.
But you can manifest those things into those kids and be honest with them. I have some kids. The best linemen I've ever, like really, really like playmaking linemen, they not big time
Right.
college recruits.
Right.
One of them did go to Austin P. I think he's at Tyler Junior College right now. Josiah Drake.
Right.
He's probably the best playmaker I've ever coached.
The center you had a couple years ago,
No,
Ponce.
this year. Oh, yeah, but Damian Martinez.
Yes.
He a beast.
My God.
Oh, he's a beast.
Straight up.
Hey, he
yeah,
cold,
yeah.
man.
He's no
He
joke.
cold.
Yeah.
But he's not a big time. But nobody wanted no parts
Right.
of Damian.
Right.
So you also have those type of kids who, Damian has a resume. He's an overachiever.
Accomplished.
Type. You're right, accomplished. Some kids are going to fall under that category, and those kids are needed for your team to be successful.
Right.
Absolutely.
Everybody don't have
Right.
5 D1 linemen.
Right.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Very few.
No
Very
doubt.
few,
And I think that's part of the misnomer too is, the work ethic, the things behind the scene that people don't see. If you ever been to the Duncanville weight room in the summertime, it's click-clacking going on and sweating. It's very old school. It's the reason that they're successful. North Shore successful. South Oak Cliff successful. Alito's successful. The trenches.
It's the
You know,
trenches, man.
it gets physical. And from a physical standpoint, that's the reason that you guys have been successful. Yeah, we not saying that the other guys, I don't know, outside, the skill positions don't have a say in that, but when you start and get down and dirty in the trenches,
And they mean.
yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, because I was really a defensive guy.
Absolutely.
I played defense my whole life. And I
sure.
was a defensive line coach to start out with.
right,
But when I did my research on the teams that go back and win state over and over and over and over again, you talk about the Cadies, you talk
Right.
about the Alitos, you talk about the Denton Geyers, you talk
Right.
about all these great programs, West Lakes, Lake Track, all of them, South Lake, they all have amazing offensive lines.
Yeah.
Right.
They all have had dominating offensive lines.
Right.
Gotta protect their quarterback.
So then it was just like, okay, if we can get our kids to play just at some type of level, just get them close to that level, then that would take the teams in our communities over the top,
Especially with the athleticism.
especially with the athleticism up front. So that's what really transitioned me to offensive line. I was like, offensive line that's the X factor.
it's the meat and
that's-
potatoes.
that's
it's
the
the
X
heartbeat of the team.
Right.
They set the tone.
Right.
Early by their play, by their physicality and things like that. And you know this from the playoff runs when it gets deep in the playoffs. That's when you have to be able to run the football and establish
Right.
it. You know what I mean? And it gets down and dirty in those
And
trenches.
if you don't have a nasty old line, it's gonna get ugly.
You're gonna go to the crib. I mean, you know what I'm
real
saying?
fast.
And vice
Absolutely.
versa, you're gonna have to have a D line that's they're gonna know they're gonna
they
have
gonna
to
have to hold something.
hold up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Because the thing is when we was over there and we gonna get on you quick. We put a lot of pressure on you.
Right.
We really front runners. We gonna hop on you quick. Say okay, come keep marching on these defense
Right.
all for a quarter. That's gonna be pretty tough.
Right.
And with these teams that you have this so like South Lake Carroll, like your Allens, like we know these teams have hearts of champions.
Right.
You better get on them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to come roaring back. There's going to be a run. They're gonna
Right.
they're gonna find a way to get in this game and make it a game. You just not gonna kill them, right? So, we like to try and get on you quick. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm saying I'm gonna put you on defense. I'm gonna stop you right now. We're gonna go score, and I'm gonna get the ball the second half.
Right.
We're gonna be thinking in our head. You down 2 scores.
Right.
Now you gotta come play catch up. Now you abandon your run game. Now you gotta throw the ball, and that's what we want to do.
Get you out of your
Yeah.
get you out of your
Get a
game.
comfort zone.
Preparation. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just hard. How do you game plan around? You can tell them what your plan is, but when you get out there, them jokers go against the best every single day.
Right.
And the practice is harder than a game.
Right.
They
Right.
hitting on Thursday.
Right. Yeah.
So what you gonna do?
Right.
They hitting on Thursday. They got shells on Thursday.
Right.
They hitting.
Right.
They lifting 3 days a week.
Right.
They're going to do it. And if it's a
Right.
Saturday, they might lift 4 days a week.
Right.
Why are they doing that? Because when it comes playoff time, when most of everybody's bodies is breaking down
You
because they're
wanna
lifting
maintain
less,
that. You want to
Right.
maintain that,
Right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Maintain
sir.
that
we're
strength.
lifting more, and so we're stronger at the end of the year.
Right.
You know, but
Makes
your
sense.
your kids gonna be complaining. You know, they gonna be sore. They gonna be like, why we running? They gonna look slug. There's some games we look sluggish.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it just so happens, you know.
But that's trust in the process, though, because you know time and time again it worked.
Yeah, and it wasn't always like that. Like, we got there, we was 2-8.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and Duncanville's always had. I mean, I'm from Lamar.
Right.
So Duncanville used to be in our district. It was Duncanville, DeSoto, City Hill, and then the Arlington schools.
Right.
You know, and DeSoto's always been DeSoto.
Right.
Duncanville's always been Duncanville.
Right.
Xavier Kenny Lawson, Eric Jackson, Tommy Devereaux, Daniel McLemore, Vernon Grant. All these dudes was D1 high-level players. They've been coming out of Duncanville forever.
Right.
Nothing's changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
when we got there, it was like, okay, the players are already here.
Right.
You know, so all we have to do is just apply this
Culture.
apply this method, and then, you know, it is what it is now.
Right.
Makes
You know?
sense.
Right. Well, I think that breeds to culture, tradition, and that goes to the community as well. You know, you won't see a more supportive community than you will see at Duncanville. You know, and
That's every sport over there.
Right. Yeah. Basketball, women's sports as well. The culture is set as a community, and they come in with high expectations. It's the reason they up looking towards a third straight state championship over there. But let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the Big Steppas. Coach Joe, you got this going on this weekend for the big fellas, the cleat drive. Talk about what you thought. You kind of shed some light on that. What was the genesis of getting this started? Because you know, we're looking at a pair of size 14 Big Steppas right here.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of times for those big guys, they can't be sized in academy.
Right,
Can't
right.
be sized in Foot Locker.
Right.
They need somewhere to go get these cleats that fit.
Right. Well, just like you said, I'm in the community anyway, whether I'm training or doing a camp or something, and
Right.
you see a need. I'm always, you know, in the face of kids, always seeing kids, and you see a need, and not just on equipment, but in confidence, you know, and understand it's okay to be big. You know, because and when you grow up in some of these households, you know, you told you too big for that.
Right.
Stop doing that. Don't move like you too big for that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Sit down somewhere. You too big to be.
Yeah.
You know, so you hear this over and over and over
Yeah.
and over again.
Right.
And so I get this kid who's 6'3", 315 pounds, and he think he a mouse.
Right.
When he a mountain. You know, so I knew when I became offensive line coach, I wanted my guys are in the front of the line. They're gonna get the best equipment. They're gonna look good on the field. You know, I'm gonna make sure they have the best of the best, because a lot of times that helps those big kids have pride in something that my size is for something. Use for it. So it's more than just football. It's just that football is a big guy sport.
Right.
And kids are playing it. So I want to just be able to give back to the community, give back to those size kids, because I think they get left out of the spotlight a lot.
Absolutely.
And so I'm just a coach, not just in the state of Texas, but across the country, where I want to highlight linemen.
Right.
I want linemen to get the same exposures to 7-on-7 guys and the DBs and the wide receivers.
Yeah.
You know, I want people to be able to walk around and recognize them on sight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's really my place. Get those big guys out. You know, they have great personalities, great kids. You know, great brands are walking around our living room, stuck in the house.
Absolutely.
Right? We got kids 6'3", 6'4", and they stuck in the house all day.
Right.
Right. There's that kid we don't know. That kid, you could be sitting next to Millionaire every day.
No doubt.
At dinner.
No doubt.
You don't know.
Right.
Because if you're big, because I mean in college, if you big, can walk and chew bubble gum and can move, you're going to get a shot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're going to get a shot. So let's get these.
Because there's always a need.
It's always a need.
Always a need.
Man, you got
Always
college
a
coaches
need.
right now still looking for
We
balls.
get those
Still
calls
looking
every
day.
week.
Still looking for boys. And
Absolutely.
offensive linemen, guys, you know,
Right.
for the community, offensive line is a huge price tag. Like, offensive linemen are at a all-time high commodity. So,
Yeah.
you know, they're even more higher than defensive tackles. Now, if you're an edge, that's different.
Right.
But if you a big-time left tackle or a big-time right tackle or a big-time center, man,
There's a need.
There's a need.
There is a need. So
Right.
I want to be able to fill that need. and make sure that I, through Big Steppers, through my training, through everything, I want to put the linemen on and make sure that they have an avenue to where they can be seen, the big guys can be seen, and have,
a platform.
A platform as well.
Absolutely. Before I go on to my next question, shout out to my guy Buddy Lopez, Angelo Martinez, Lamont Ellison, my guy Jesse Phillips for tapping in here with Coach Joe from the Big Steppas. Big event coming up August 3rd this weekend. This is for the big fellas. They're going to fit you with some shoes here. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to switch.
Let me get a shout out
Go
real
ahead.
quick. Coach Molo and the Metro Flex organization, when you asked about where it came from, the genesis, that's where it came from.
Okay, for sure.
They wanted to come together and do something as a partnership. But, Coach Mo, he liked to be quiet and, he don't like to be in the camera like that. So he said, Joe, you run with it. But I just want y'all to know that, Coach Mo is the biggest donor of these cleats, and he's really allowed me to make this thing happen. So I appreciate that. And the Metro Flex organization over there in Euless Trinity.
Absolutely, man. Make that connection. We need to get them on the show.
Absolutely.
Anything about awareness, we're trying to help the community. It's, educate and elevate anybody, the listeners that come in, man. Definitely make that connection, and we're going to have to tap in with them. What I'm saying? It's important that we branch out in it, because if we embrace each other, it helps us get the word out there and spread that message that you've been trying to do, because we've been tapped in for a while, so that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I think interesting thing you got here also is the Little Steppers coaches clinic, and for the youth linemen. You know what I'm saying? Because if the coaches don't know how to coach them, then the players are left out and not developed the right way as well. And it's important to start young, especially with the linemen. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, again, like we said, lineman is the only position where you're going to hit something every single play. Every play you're going to hit. So it's important that we have the proper techniques to protect our children that's playing on these front lines.
Right.
And it's not that the coaches aren't good coaches. They just may not know
Scheme-wise, technique-wise.
Or even just the verbal cues.
Absolutely.
To get these certain effects that we want them to be in, or the stances we want them to be in, or exercises that these kids can do so they can get into these stances.
Right.
Because maybe they're imbalanced in some type of flexibility or whatever. How do I fix this? And other than saying, boy, get your butt down.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So, with the Little Steppers, it's really geared toward the coaching of the position.
Absolutely.
And that'll be August the 17th.
Okay.
Saturday, August the 17th. It'll be from 1 to 5 p.m. And it may not even go that long, depending if they have questions. But it'll be demonstrations.
Okay.
We will feed the coaches and the kids that come out and participate. We would like them to be age appropriate.
Absolutely.
We don't want high schoolers trying to teach them. We want that age group teaching them drills, exercises to help develop the position, because the game is changing. Absolutely. And so the lineman position has to be more of an athletic position, because the D-line has advanced immensely. It's forced us offensive line coaches to have to get in our minds and be creative about how we're coaching these kids.
Right.
Because the old school just doing this on the
it's over with.
It's over with.
That's gone.
Right.
It's done.
Never
well,
be seen again.
and not only the teaching aspect, but I'm gonna spin it a little different before we get out of here. The recruiting aspect of offensive line has changed.
Right.
The
What they're looking for.
What they're looking for.
Right,
well,
yeah,
not
absolutely.
all of that, and the skill set has changed. 20, 30 years ago, the thing was, you got to have a big belly, you got to be a big road grader. That's gone out of the question. You know what I'm saying? There's different skill sets for each position.
Right.
And you have to fit that in order to get recruited. So speak on that a little bit and how you try to get that across to players and parents.
Is the biggest thing is the parents, because the kid is going to adjust to whatever atmosphere they're in.
Right.
And so what the parents have to understand is that the offensive line isn't, oh, my kid's just big.
Mm-hmm.
It's what does the big look like.
Right.
Right. And these are things that we can, when I say manifest, these are things that we can make happen by doing a little research, right? And I talk about economics a lot and with parents and stuff, and thinking outside the box, because we have to look at it. If we think if our kid wants to do this, we have to invest. Now, there needs to be a timetable on the investment, right? Like, or whatever, but there's going to be an investment. I have to invest in his diet. I have to invest in his training. I have to invest in his insurance. I have to invest in all these things for my son until he gets a job. And then he has to understand your job is to fund your dream.
Right.
It's to fund your training. It's to fund your massage. It's to fund your stretch lab. It's to fund your diet or your meals or whatever you're doing, Meals on Wheels or meal prep or whatever you're doing. Right. And so you have to make that investment because they're paying these kids now. So it's not like it used to be where I'm paying this investment. He go to college, then he got to get through college, then he go to the NFL and get paid. Now they're paying him as soon as he steps foot on campus. So this investment can be paid back to your son for all the hard work that he put in.
Right.
So diet for big kids, diet is everything because they're already going to be big.
Absolutely.
So if they don't have a good diet or if they don't have, a diet with the correct macros or whatever, they can be too big, right?
Absolutely.
And then, and some kids can be too big and still get away with it. Some kids, you're going to have to max out, okay, I got to lose this 50 pounds so I can be just that much quicker, that much more explosive so that I can appeal to the next level game. So that's the hardest part is to get the kids to change what they put in their mouths. I feel like Amir Ross at Duncanville, to me, out of 8th grade, I feel like he's probably one of the best guards in the nation.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
And that's what my expectation was. That's what our plan was. We went through the plan, and it didn't work out. And I had to assess myself, okay, what was it? And the only thing I could say it probably could have been is we probably should have shed more weight off.
Right.
Man, I mean, I just really feel like, watching him play is no reason why he don't have, Baylor, and all of those schools coming after him more.
Right.
So I just had to assess myself and say, okay, this is a guy I feel like was just as good as Savion Byrd, could have been just as good as Jalen Early.
Right.
I really felt like he was on that level, and it just didn't work in the recruiting standpoint.
Right.
As a player standpoint,
absolutely.
He's playing his butt off.
For sure.
But as a recruiting standpoint, it just didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
and that's the hardest part. It's not always an exact science, of being able to project. And it's tough trying to balance having so many kids and, trying to make sure everybody's is getting the type of placement that they need. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to coach you, and we know schools are coming here.
Right.
We just can't say who's going to pick you.
Right.
And again, that's hindsight being 2020 of looking back saying, okay, what did I miss?
And we achieved the goal. We're going to school for free.
No doubt.
No, absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing. But, of course, you always want to maximize the potential for every kid that you have.
Yeah.
And then looking back, but that shows a lot about you as a coach to say, I look back and say, okay, where did I mess up? Even though I know I projected it, but something didn't happen the way that I wanted. So how do I fix that moving forward? But that's being a solution-based coach versus just saying, I'm going to coach you and go home.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's a big difference. And that goes back to culture. Parents, when you're looking at schools, ask those type of questions. What kind of coach look
the
at
development of the kid.
What kind of coach, right? The mentality of the coach, is it I'm going to coach your kid and go home, or am I forward thinking? Am I outside the box thinker? Am I trying to do any and everything I can from pushing the diet to the little things, outside of just saying it?
Right.
That's how you choose your schools. Look at all of those aspects.
Well, I think it also shows that you're in the fix-it type business. You know what I'm saying? And you take each coaching opportunity with your players to work on that, to mold it, to put it together. It's just like a Rubik's Cube or something.
Yeah.
You want to shift it to the right colors in order to get it. And that makes success. That breeds success.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason you guys and you have been successful at what you do, is because you take that. But that's a learned behavior. You know what I'm saying? Your situations change. No different than when you changing. You're looking at a 4-man front or a 5-man front, playing against who you're playing. Mm-hmm. You have to take that into account when you're coaching these guys, and that's what the reason that saying that you came out today, and that's the reason that you've been successful. You know what I mean? And before we get out of here, go ahead and give your social medias out where we can find you.
Oh yeah, you can find me at State Champ Joe on Twitter. You can find me at State Champ Joe also on Instagram, and you can also find me at Coach Joe Elite on Instagram. So
Absolutely.
any one of those three, you can find me. The QR code to pre-register for the event has already been up since Saturday. We have some sign up now. Some of the styles is not unlimited, so you got to go in. The styles are up there with the sizes. You click on what you want, you get what you want. So I don't have to turn anybody away. We get the right amount of people there for the right amount of number of cleats. We'll have a little session. We'll have some music, have a little food, and we get up out of there. We ain't gonna be there all day. Hey, we gonna get in. We gonna have fun. We gonna get out. Get some good work in. Get out. Take some pictures. Fellowship a little bit, and then let's get on our way and get ready for this next football season coming up.
So tell me one more time, August the 3rd, what time and where it's going to be at?
We're August the 3rd at Arlington Bowie at the indoor facility, right there off Sherry Street, off 360.
Right.
Green Oaks and Sherry Street. You'll run right into Bowie High School. We'll be there from 11 to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Yep. And bring the little ones with you too.
All right.
Parents are welcome to come in and watch what's going on and fellowship. There'll be some coaches in there. There'll be players in there volunteering. There'll be some media guys and some things out there for the kids to have fun, man.
Absolutely. I might have to pull up on that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
pull up,
Absolutely.
Man. Yeah, bring a whole truck.
Already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, listen, man. Another
cause.
great Wednesday, Educate and Elevate. Coach, my guy, Coach Joe in the building, Coach Jay in the building. On Your Mark Show, powered and sponsored by Epic Sports Apparel. Every play I compete. Listen, tap in next week. Next week it'll be August, man. We're going to be talking some football. Probably all the way through September, October. It's going down. Texas football season is here. The On Your Mark Show. We'll tap in with you. Follow the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel where you'll see this episode. And go to onthemarksports.com. It's going down. You're going to see some special things going on. We'll holler next week.
All right.
Hey, this Manna Mike. I'm not sure what you own, but this here is on the mark. Like a spiral from a 5-star recruit, we throwing darts, really focused. WD-40 couldn't stop the way we grinded. In the trenches, putting that work in, I relate to all my linemen. This is for the men, the boys do not belong here. Tiptoeing to the top, we doing cone drills. The hottest show in the world, you don't even gotta search. Steady putting in work, you see the sweat up on my shirt. They wasn't aware of us at first, we wasn't on their radar. Now every play that we make, they gon' say, similar to a razor blade, we gon' stay sharp. The news ain't official if it's not on the mark.